everyone. Welcome back. This is Bree.
And I'm Katie.
And you're listening to Views. Just a reminder for any new listeners that we might have, Views is a podcast that we created together to share our views of the world and also to create a space where you guys can share yours too. So Katie, let's get started by sharing some life updates.
Alrighty. So for me, since we spoke last, I got the job. Not only did I get the job, but between then and now, I am also transferring.
Why's that?
To be closer to you.
Oh, stop. Why would you want to do that?
I am moving in with Bree, guys. We're going to be able to record a lot more, and things just will run a lot smoother that way.
Yeah. So that's a big life update, I would say. Pretty exciting.
Big life update.
Yeah, it's been a while since we've recorded last, so I feel like we have a lot to share, a lot that's going on. But with me, let's see. Well, Katie's moving in with me, which also means that I am now going to be living with Katie, so that's a big life update on my end. What else? June was crazy.
That was a very crazy month.
Let me try to sum it up. We won't tell every story in detail, but it all started June 5th when we were in Chattanooga and Katie was about to leave her drill. So we were hanging out with some of her friends and we decided, you know what? Let's race. Let's see who's faster. And it was
like 12 o'clock at night. Let's
midnight.
race.
It was real late. Sure enough, I was faster. And this made Katie upset. And
we raced again.
So we raced again. And then Katie pushed me down. And I
what you want.
had not on my head the size of a softball, black eyes that didn't heal for weeks, a trip to the ER, so that was really fun. A couple days after that ER trip, I had to go to the ER again because I had a severe kidney infection. So that was pretty bad. I've never gone to the ER in my life, and then I went twice in 1 week for two separate things.
Goodness, at those freaking medical bills, that hurt worse than the actual pain itself.
It did hurt. So not the end of it though, because then 2 weeks later I was driving back to Chattanooga to pick up Katie, and I totaled my car.
Thank God that you're okay though. That's all that matters.
Yeah, I'm fine. But yeah, I got into a wreck on the interstate.
And then life kind of got a little bit better for you. Positivity.
I got a new car.
Yes.
because my car got totaled, I got a new car, and I love it.
She's been whipping me around.
It's the cutest little car ever. I'm all healed from my injuries. Insurance is being settled. Oh my God, quit it. People aren't listening. But anyway, other than that, pretty same old, back to work. Love my job.
And I guess to segue into our next portion of this podcast.
Yeah,
why don't
we tell them what's up? So
we decided that we wanted to create
kind of a sub-series.
There we go, a sub-series.
A sub-series to our podcast. Called what?
Mental Health Mondays.
Oh my God, Katie, tell them what Mental Health Mondays is.
All right, so basically for me, the way that I thought about this was, so Mondays are hard, so this is our way of taking a break from reality to talk about how you can handle and manage the rest of your week. Everything is hard. Everyone knows that, days are hard, but Mondays are especially hard. So we're just here to remind you that everyone goes through these struggles as well.
Yeah, and you're not alone. And so hopefully these episodes that we'll be releasing, I don't know if we'll be releasing them every Monday, but on Mondays it's going to be kind of just a pick-me-up to start your week. And with hopefully some tips and tricks and way to help with different mental health issues.
I think a lot of the time, you're feeling all these things, but not really know how to put words to them.
Mm-hmm.
And
sure.
This is like our way of helping you guys out and putting words to the things that you feel. Because I promise you, someone's feeling the same way you are.
Exactly. And just as a kind of full disclosure, we aren't professionals. We're not certified mental health professionals. I got a journalism degree, y'all. That's it.
Yeah, we are definitely not professionals, but we are here to share our experiences and to share what we've gone through and just talk about the things that I guess helped us in a way.
And hopefully for those episodes where we're tackling some mental health issues that we haven't experienced, because we want to cover those too. We want everyone to feel seen and heard. We'll do our research and hopefully...
And maybe even have people on that can share their experiences as well.
Hopefully we can bring people on to be able to talk about things that we can't speak to.
And with that, let's get started.
Okay, what is today's...
That was a high five, by the way.
We're excited. We're excited about anxiety. Yeah, so that's our Mental Health Monday topic for this week. Anxiety. So did you guys know that, and this is according, let's see, we pulled this statistic from a reliable source, I promise, from the Anxiety and Depression Association of America. So it's a reliable source. This isn't a stat we're just pulling out of our butts. But anxiety disorders are the most common mental illness in the United States, affecting 40 million adults. So people 18 or older, or this is the same as 18.1% of the population every year. So
everyone experiences anxiety or some form of anxiety to some degree within their lives. Like, anxiety isn't just small or big. Anxiety to anyone is all different. It comes in different shapes and sizes for everyone.
So yeah, it's a very common thing, and I mean, Katie and I both deal with it almost on a daily basis. So we figured that would be a really good one to start off with. One, because it's so common. Two, because we can speak to it a lot,
especially for it being like the biggest mental health issue in America.
Yeah. So we want to talk about a little bit of history.
Yeah.
The history of anxiety.
Go for it.
So I did some research. I'm not going to just sit here and like quote off facts and stats and numbers and stuff to you, but I'm going to kind of just spill the bits and pieces that I thought were interesting. So when I was doing some research about the history of anxiety and how it kind of like manifested into the definition of what it is today, apparently, anxiety kind of started, and it was something that was only associated with women. So like hysteria in women. So basically back in this time period when women were exhibiting symptoms of, what we know as today are symptoms of anxiety, back then when they were having these issues, people just saw them as hysteric or crazy. And there wasn't really any treatment. Eventually it was one of those things where if women were exhibiting these symptoms, they would get sent to insane asylums, but they weren't really treated for anxiety.
It was just a problem to get rid of.
Basically. So the kind of like turn in research and recognition of anxiety kind of came when these symptoms were started to be seen in soldiers, specifically with symptoms that we now know as today are PTSD, which is a type of anxiety. So after that, anxiety kind of has then been formed into what we know it as today. But it wasn't even until the 1980s that like the term anxiety disorder was created or even recognized by the American Psychiatric Association. So that's extremely recent. So up until the 1980s, there was almost just not necessarily no explanation, but just not, at least today we have an answer, kind of.
Perfect.
Today
we have an answer.
So that's a brief, really rough history of anxiety that I wasn't really able to articulate very well. But I thought it was interesting that people back in the day who had anxiety were just crazy. And they were women. They were just crazy women.
You know how it feels now to have anxiety and to be, like, reassured that, other people feel that way? Just imagine being back in that time and not having anything to...
Because you have to think about the role of women back then, right? They were trapped in the house all day, doing like these monotonous duties.
So basically, the COVID era.
Feels like it. I mean, yeah, the way that people were trapped inside, like
and stuff.
What women were doing back then, everyone kind of had to take part in. Of course, we're not drawing a direct comparison. There are very obvious differences between the COVID era and, really, really long time ago.
Of course, but you can kind of, today's society, that's what we're going through now.
Mm-hmm.
And to kind of pull those together
Yeah.
and compare them on that, not the same level, but just to put yourself in that perspective.
And I was also, thinking about, like, perspective and, like, what if we were people in that era, like, we were women in that era and we had anxiety, but we had no other, like, we had no help except for that people would call us crazy and send us to get electroshock therapy. Like, that's all. Could you imagine?
I'm sure people adapted in like, because, some way. They adapted some way.
Yeah.
I would love to talk to someone from back
Yeah.
then. And,
That's true.
Great-grandmother,
Everyone has their own way
and
to
talk
adapt.
about it.
But I don't know. Anyway, that's crazy. A little bit of history of anxiety for you. But I don't know. Now we can skip ahead a few years to now. What are some of the causes of anxiety? Where does this come from?
So, things that cause anxiety, everyone knows stress. Stress on your job, stress at work, stress at school, those things. Anything really can cause stress in day-to-day life. Lots of people stress over different things that mean the world to them. And that can bring, that kind of rolls into the next expectations of that, you have to hold yourself up to, expectations that your family expect you to be, especially with sexuality.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big one.
Any kind of expectations from your family, from your friends, from your bosses, from your coworkers, from your teachers, professors. It comes from every avenue, from society in general. Just broad societal expectations of who you're supposed to be. Huge cause of anxiety.
Another huge cause of anxiety would be family.
Mm-hmm.
I think so.
We briefly touched on it.
But family can really push you to some dark places.
Yeah.
And I think we need to normalize the, cutting off family if that's what's best for you.
Yeah. And I don't know that I can necessarily speak to that in that way. Yeah, I was lucky in that way that my family definitely does not cause me anxiety. It's a very safe space with my family. But for other people, family is the least safe space, like the place where they feel the most anxious or like.
I agree.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
It's pretty crappy, huh?
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Very unfortunate. But
let's see. The lack of an emotional outlet is another really big one. I think we're just kind of bringing to light a lot of the big ones right here.
Yeah.
Not having an emotional outlet can cause you to do so many things, have anxiety. Like, your emotions are meant to be
let out,
meant to be shown, like you're supposed to show your emotions. You're not supposed to hold them in. Like, that's also a bad stigma from back then.
Right. I can speak to that one very, very personally. Like, emotional outlets, I just am not a person that shows emotion in ways like that I probably should, or as much as I should. It's so hard for me to be like an emotional person, and that it builds and it builds and it builds and it builds, and it like causes me so much anxiety. Like, I feel it. It's makes me nervous all the time because
your
it's
mind
not
is going against what it should
what
be.
it's supposed to be doing.
Yeah,
so,
for sure.
Ooh, that one.
I think we briefly touched on this, but performance, whether it be like sexual performance, whether it be
work
sport performance, which you know a lot about.
Yeah.
And things that are expected of you to perform a certain way or to a certain level. Sometimes you have bad days, but I know, like, you're really hard on yourself.
Anything you do that gives the possibility of failure is a big proponent of anxiety.
Failure is a very hard thing to face.
Such a huge fear of people.
And that goes along with ego and being able to accept that.
Yeah.
We have the next thing that we want to talk about would be symptoms of anxiety.
Yeah.
You want to go ahead and start that for us?
Sure. Obviously, everyone is different. Anxiety manifests itself differently based on that individual person and their experiences and who they are and how they think. But some of the big ones that are like pretty recognizable, pretty common, at least the way that I've seen it, explosions of emotion. So whether that's
what were you talking about earlier?
Yeah.
With holding it inside.
Yep. So, like, you hold it in for so long, and then eventually you can't do it anymore. You have these explosions of emotion, whether that's anger, sadness, huge, like, fear, panicking, any kind of, like, explosion of emotion that you almost just can't control. Like,
it becomes, like, from internal to, like, physical at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's, like, all-encompassing of who you are, and basically just kind of takes over. That's a pretty big symptom of anxiety. One I have experience with. I'm sure you have experience with it too.
Sure.
A lot of people do, I would imagine. Another symptoms of anxiety, not to be redundant, but like anxiety attacks or panic attacks, what people call them.
A lot of people even have panic attacks and don't even know. A lot of panic attacks, they can cause you to blow off too much CO2 with hyperventilating, and you can even pass out for short periods of time. Which is, don't be alarmed that you're not dying or anything, but just be careful. Like, when you're having a panic attack, just try to breathe and just make sure that you're okay. Just tell yourself that everything is gonna be okay. It's gonna pass.
Yeah, and it does. It always does. And other than like maybe the more obvious kind of breathing involved panic attack is one that I'm really common with is I get sick to my stomach. And when I was little, it was explained like, oh, you just have nervous butterflies, like you just got nerves. And that's what I always thought it was, like, oh, I'm just nervous. But then I realized it was not normal to feel that sick before doing everything.
Yeah.
Like, I eventually was like, oh, like, you don't want to vomit just by having to stand up and, like, go dump your lunch tray in front of people? Like, that's not normal? Like, eventually I learned.
I get that, too, because, like, before, like, a PT test or before, like, an actual, like, a big test I would take, anything, or a date even, I would, my stomach would get really upset. Not in the nauseous way, but...
Yeah. There's a difference between just, being nervous and then absolutely your body just tightening up, you want to throw up, and it's all the time. So that one is a big one.
Oh, yeah, I completely understand that, like...
But yeah.
Personally.
Another one, and these two a lot of times unfortunately go hand in hand, but
a lot of them go hand in hand. When you experience one, a lot of things either follow or lead.
Yeah, so that with anxiety, a big one that ties into that is depression. So not necessarily that depression is a symptom of anxiety, but a lot of times they're cause and effect of each other.
And that's okay. That is completely okay. A lot of people have depression and it manifests in different ways, and we'll have another episode on
depression is its own thing. We could do 10 episodes on depression. We could do 10 episodes on anxiety, but that's not the point. It's just
to know that we keep reiterating the fact that you're not alone, but that's what this episode is about. That's what Mental Health Mondays are about, is to make you feel like you're safe and that everyone experiences those things, and we can be here to reassure you that.
Yeah. And it like Katie said, it's for you guys. It's to like let you know that you're not alone. But the selfish part of me is like, shoot, like it feels so good just to sit here and talk about this. That this episode is good for my soul. I love recording this. Like, even if 0 people ever listen to it, it made me feel better to get to record it and talk about it. Mm-hmm. And like know that Katie has experienced tons of the same thing that I have, and like we're just sitting here validating each other. So hopefully, like
I can't even begin to like explain how many people or friends or just acquaintances that I've talked to about anxiety and stuff, since like basically you get to a point in your life where you experience so much of it, and then you realize other people do too. And sometimes talking to complete strangers about mental health and telling them like it's okay. I've talked to so many people about just like basically opening up and sharing my experiences helps other people feel like they can share their experiences too, because so many people just don't ever have like someone they can just talk to about those things. And sometimes like just talking about it,
having safe space.
Yeah, feeling safe, being aware that those things aren't terrible and not normal.
Nothing's wrong with you. Yeah.
No. I think it helps a lot just to like talk about it. So I agree.
So yeah.
Another thing I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Another thing would be self-medicating. That's one thing I wanted to talk about too. You know, like a lot of people can self-medicate with, you know, alcohol, drugs, even sex. You can self-medicate.
Any kind of way.
Yeah.
You know what? So I read this really, really interesting
My weird
perspective.
addictions.
No, but
No, I'm just saying.
if you want to go
Like
down
a
that
point.
road. I watched an episode of that where a guy was in love with his car. Anyway, moving on. We're not here to judge anyone, you know? But speaking of self-medicating, that made me think of something interesting, like a perspective that I read about getting tattoos. And that tattoos, people who get this isn't everyone who gets tattoos, obviously, but there are some people who get tattoos as a form of like self-harm and self-medication for their anxiety. I thought that was really interesting. I never thought about that
That might
way.
be like a healthy thing, though.
Well, so, yeah, I mean,
on like some degree.
right. And I've always viewed it as like, wow, like body art's so beautiful. I love tattoos and I love any,
But that's a
like,
different
any kind of
perspective.
body art. But you think about that, it's the same. An example would be like, you know how people go through breakups or something bad happens and they go chop their hair off?
Yeah, chop their hair off, color it, dye it.
Right. Well, I mean, doing that to your hair really isn't physically hurting you, but it is a form of self-harm. Like it's a,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
I mean, it is damaging your hair. But
It's like something traumatic happens to you or you have like terrible anxiety about something and you go and you alter your body and you like do something to yourself. You know?
because it's
It's a
freeing
form of
in a way.
Yeah, I mean sometimes it's definitely a positive thing sometimes, but I also just didn't see it that way. Like some people use tattoos as a form of self-harm.
That is
That
crazy
is seen
to
as
think.
acceptable.
Because like today, that's like very.
And they can
like, very
disguise it so
popular.
easily. Like no one would walk up to someone with body art or tattoos and be like, well, are you going through something? The same way someone would go up to someone with scars on their body and know what was going on. Like
Mhm.
it could
Yeah.
be the same thing for someone, but no one would ever know.
Exactly.
I just thought that was so interesting.
That is
And
interesting.
I don't know that
agree.
that's
I
super
never,
common, but I was
never
like,
really
wow.
saw it from that perspective.
I've
'cause
definitely cut my hair after like a situation. I'm like, oh my gosh. Like that's very
looking back on it, like, oh, I
like
know
that's
I
an
did
altered
that.
perspective I did not realize. But yeah, I don't know. Definitely a lot of forms of self-medication. Some are easy to oversee, and you know, so you might not even notice that you're doing it, but definitely things that you want to avoid. And hopefully, by bringing some of these up, you can maybe reflect and be like, oh, I do really like drink entire bottles of wine. Like 10 a night, like maybe I'm self-medicate. Like, you know, maybe you can reflect. I don't do that. I would never. No, just 1 or 2 bottles, but anyway.
This one or two.
But those are some, I mean, we listed some symptoms there, some unhealthy ways to cope, and other kind of causes of anxiety, but now we kind of want to talk about
Healthy outlets, how to manage.
yeah. How do we make it day by day dealing with this crap?
And, you know, also a lot of these things that we will mention, don't always come so easy. They're not always in your control, but that's why we're listing a bunch of them. These are a lot of things that I've endured and things that have helped us, and I've seen, you know, help other people. So a big one would be recognition of mental health, being around, you know, safe people who reassure you and give you the validation that you need, that, you know, you're not crazy, and or if, you know, you have toxic traits, you know, help you to turn those into positive ones and things that help instead of hurt you or people you're around.
Yeah, I think recognition of mental health goes hand in hand with, you know, just admitting to yourself that you might need help. Like the way that you're feeling isn't making you happy, isn't something that feels good to you.
Mm-hmm.
And if you know that you're feeling that way all the time, then you could admit to yourself, you know what, maybe this is something that I need help with. Maybe this is a mental health issue that I have.
And you know, that takes a lot of, I guess, self-awareness to look at yourself and be like, you know, I think that I need to take things in a different direction. In a
Self-awareness.
positive, better direction. take another path.
Yeah, self-awareness, but also courage. Like, to admit,
Courage,
even though
and drop a lot of ego, because we carry a lot of ego within ourselves.
Yeah, everyone does. And the verbiage and the way I like to think about anxiety, I don't like to see anxiety as a, like,
downfall.
You're not normal. Like, that's not the way I look at it. However, it is still, like, the reason it takes courage is because you're admitting almost a weakness in yourself. And there are a lot of people that are just so sensitive about their weaknesses, or there are a lot of people that always have to be the rock for everyone else.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
to be able to, like, reflect and look at yourself and be like, I need help. I need help is a very, very hard thing to do.
Or to look at your friend who's experienced something and being like, do you need help? How can I help you?
Both sides of it, whether you're seeing it or whether you're experiencing it. It just takes a lot from a person to admit what's going on, or to reach out and help someone get to that point. But that kind of leads us into another way to manage your anxiety. Big proponent of this one, therapy.
Yes, therapy. Even if you don't really experience things that we talked about, like panic attacks or things that have made you explosively, like, how would you say, emotionally explode?
Yeah.
I mean, just because these things haven't manifested in ways that can hurt you or your day-to-day life don't mean that you don't need to go to therapy. And therapy is definitely nowhere near a bad thing.
Oh, no.
There's a lot of stigma against therapy, like against it, which is, I hate that, because therapy has helped so many people, including myself.
Therapy is for everyone. You could be the happiest person on the planet with the happiest life and, like, the most going for you, and I would still advise to go to therapy. And this is hypocritical because I've never been to therapy. I'm working on it. I need to get there. Got to jump through some hoops first, but I think everybody should go to therapy.
Therapy also is like accepting that you're gonna dig deep and go for the stuff that you may not be. You have to be willing and ready to face these things in your life. So some people just aren't ready.
Yeah.
Like, when you're ready and
that's okay. Yeah. And another thing about therapy and the way people view it is a lot of people associate therapy with, like, some form of really extreme trauma. And I think that's a stigma that needs to be broken too, because so many people experience trauma of some form. But even if you don't feel like you have, that doesn't mean you shouldn't go to therapy.
Yeah, and some people are like, well, other people have it worse than you.
Yes.
That is definitely
Guilty.
not that's definitely not something that you need to tell yourself. Right. If you think that, hey, I would like to try therapy, that is an amazing thought. Don't talk yourself out of it. And if you do talk yourself out of it, that's okay too. Obviously, you're not ready. Mm-hmm. But when you're ready, you'll know. And like Bree was saying, you don't have to experience a lot of trauma to go to therapy. I mean, that may be what pushes you to go to therapy. But there are minimum requirements of sad things that you've been through that you need to meet in order to go to therapy. So, I don't know. That's my 2 cents. Therapy is for everyone. But yeah. But there's only so much that your friend or your mom or anyone who emotionally validates you or an emotional outlet that you just talk to, there's only so much that they can do, Right. Not the normal person doesn't know, strategies to help you during certain things, like positive ways to cope, healthy ways to cope. A lot of us cope terrible ways,
Yeah.
Anywhere from self-medicating and drinking to tattoos.
The tattoos, potentially, yeah.
It's just, which are, again, to reiterate, not a bad thing at all. Well, both of us have plenty of tattoos. But
on the other hand, speaking to emotional validation from people you love, that could be like almost a stepping stool. To, if you're not ready for therapy, talk about it with someone like you trust. And I know that's why a lot of people go to therapies, because they feel like they don't have that person. But if you do, use them. Use that person. If someone loves you, they're going to want to hear about what you want to say. They're going to want to know what you're going through.
And those people don't always know how to talk to you about it. But you can, like, earlier we were talking, and, like, I was like, this is what I need. this is what I need from this conversation or stuff like that, because not everyone knows how to help you. Like, you know yourself better than anyone. And if you know what the things that you need, you know, when you're talking to your friends, or, you know, certain triggers you can have certain triggers, things can make you upset, and those people that love you are going to be willing to help you out in any way. So before, like, to make you feel more comfortable in any type of relationship, whether it be your parents, your siblings, your friends, your professors in college, your bosses at work, your peers at work, people under you, any outlet that I guess you can run in day to day, but you can tell them. Do not feel bad for telling them, hey, like, this is what I need in this certain situation. Don't be afraid to tell your feelings, because that's definitely not a sign of weakness at all. That's actually a sign of strength.
Big time.
Other ways to manage could be exercise or doing anything that makes you feel good. You know, for me, I love running. When I go through hard stuff, I run, and that runner's high after makes me feel amazing. And like, just, I look in the mirror and I have gained or lost nothing, but I look the exact same. But I look in the mirror and I'm like, damn, I look good.
Yes.
You know?
No, I do know. I hate running. I think running is a form of torture, you know, but I love to exercise. I love going to the gym. I love lifting weights.
There's something about walking in the gym, walking out, that's just like,
I feel so good.
Bitch.
Yes, I just fucking did that. Yeah, I love going to the gym, and I feel the same way. Everyone gets that high. Those endorphins from working out. I'm not saying that's a cure to anxiety by any means, but
I just burped.
Excuse you.
Sorry.
But it does help a lot. I do be having my fair share of couch potato days though, so like let me not even front.
Look,
like,
I think that's a very big key to having anxiety too. So you need couch potato days. You don't need to push yourself every single day.
Yeah.
You know, that's how people also emotionally implode.
Yeah. But what? Okay, besides the exercise, because we're not trying to be health nuts out here forcing that on people. But what other things make you feel good?
Well, before we talk about that, I just want to tell you guys that from a different perspective, like, it's your body. Treat it the way that you want to be treated. Like, you walk around in your body every day. You look in the mirror every day. You brush your teeth every day. You know?
Hopefully.
You wake up in that body every day. And those
so everything you're doing, make sure you're doing it for you.
Yeah. Like, you're not, your friend isn't walking around in your body. Your girlfriend, your boyfriend isn't walking around in your body. You know, your parents aren't. Do what makes you feel good.
Yeah.
That's my advice, but
I'm not a professional. Though we'd like to be. How much is it?
Speaking of waking up in the morning.
Anyway.
Daily affirmations.
Daily affirmations. Okay.
That's a really big thing for us.
Yeah. I don't keep up with mine like I should, but when I do, I love them. It's so nice. Well, tell them what you did with your
I was just gonna say, so we found this picture or something that resonated with us. I don't even know where.
Pinterest.
Pinterest.
A lot of
Pinterest is pretty dope.
Pinterest is a tool, everyone. Use Pinterest. Anyway, go ahead.
Oh, well, we saw something and Bree sent it to me the other day, and she was like, oh my God, look at this. And I was like, bet. And we just kind of went through it, and it just like really, really, really resonated with me. And I'm like, I would really like to hang this up. And I've done it like for years. I've written down stuff and hung it on my bathroom like mirror, and it looked kind of bad because, you know, you take a shower and then it like the condensation and stuff like
ruins it.
Ruins the paper, so it like stays there forever. I still see it, but it was just, I don't know. I mentioned it to Bree about like wanting to like get it framed, I guess, and just like not only help me to say those things every day, but to like look at that and like it being framed just like means something extra, going the extra mile to do that, and like just to have like that space
physically
in your bathroom.
There.
Yeah, physically there. Like,
it just
not
helps
just something
to see it.
Yeah, for sure. And daily affirmations, oh my God, they're so great. It goes hand in hand with manifesting.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like just a form of manifesting things.
Yeah. But
and so Bree just surprised me one day. I came home from work, and my best friend was staying with me, and she was like, "Look what I got you," and I was like, "Oh my gosh!" And a tear fell from my eye.
And it was, what was it?
And it was, she had framed that daily affirmation for me, just you know what? Just to reiterate, you need good friends in your life.
Yep.
Very good friends that care about your mental health. I did. I still do.
And now it's
every day.
Framed affirmations.
We talked about daily affirmations and manifestations and everything. And daily affirmations are a big thing for me, but manifestations is super big for you.
Mm-hmm.
Can you talk about that?
And my journey with like manifestation and that kind of like spirituality and all of that stuff kind of started last summer, like COVID summer, during COVID. And I was in a situation.
Just want to say we know and acknowledge that COVID is
still going.
Still alive and well.
Believe us, we believe that.
But in the heat of COVID.
Yes, in the heat of COVID. It was towards the beginning still. So like everything was just crazy, and I was going through the same thing everyone else was going through. I had just graduated from, college, was trying to find a job. Because all of my potential job opportunities and offers had fallen through because everyone went on hiring freezes. I had to move back in with my parents, which, wasn't the end of the world, but it wasn't where I pictured myself after I graduated. And, everyone was in the same boat as me. So many people were, but I took that really, really hard. And I was like, how the heck do I get myself out of this funk? Like, I was just really down about everything. And so I started my journey with manifestation and visualization and read some books. Can you talk
about a little bit of how you did that and how, like, not only how you started, but how you implemented that? Because a lot of people don't, know about manifestation, but don't know how to actually
get started.
I
get started. It was really just a curiosity thing, and what got me started was YouTube. I started watching YouTube videos about it and like watching people and their stories and what they do and their habits. And, at first glance, you see something or you think about something like manifestation and it's like,
it has a lot to do with your goals, right?
How fraudulent. It's super cheesy. But yes, it's very goal-oriented, and it's based around the assumption, essentially, that everything you want, everything you desire, everything you hope for is already yours. And it's just a matter of time.
That sounds amazing. You just say that.
It's just that mindset. It is. You already have it.
Freeing.
The universe, everything that is, was, and is going to be already exists. So whatever you want, it's already yours. You just have to get it and let it into your life, kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So I was watching those YouTube videos and learning some things and doing some I don't even know what exercises, I guess, some visualization, meditation, a lot of journaling. I still have my journal from that summer. And I was also reading a book, which every chapter had a different exercise to do. And, long story short.
Can you plug that book?
We'll have to put it in the description because I can't say it off the top of my head. I don't remember.
Sorry,
but
I put you on the spot.
No, you're good. It was on Amazon Prime. And I read it.
We can shoot you guys some links.
Yeah, we'll shoot you the links. But when I open that journal and I look at it, everything I manifested, everything I journaled about in my visualizations, everything I wrote, I got.
Looking back, it happened, huh?
It did.
That's mind blowing to me.
Right? And when I was looking at people's stories, I was like, no way. But then it happened, and I, that summer, I lost 30 pounds that summer. I got a job. I got a good job. I moved across the country.
By yourself.
By myself. I made new friends. Everything was exactly.
At the age of 22, Bree moved across the country by herself.
But,
I just want to plug that. Tell how great you are.
No big deal or anything. But, no, everything was. I still have, my life isn't perfect right now by any means, but everything that I wanted, I got through manifestation, and I felt the best I ever had. Towards July, August of last year, I was my peak. I was at my peak physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. Everything was aligned and working out for me. And like I said, I moved cross country by myself, started my life over, so that kind of like brought everything to a halt a little bit and kind of threw me off kilter. And
but we're getting back into it.
Yeah, I'm doing the best I can. We're getting back into things and getting to that point.
With things like sunlight, vitamin D, that helps a lot, especially with me being a Leo, fire sign.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Of course, Leo. The Leo has to say she's a Leo.
Yeah, pretty much. Social interaction, which is kind of hard, during the pandemic, but as, lots of places are opening back up. We went to Six Flags the other day.
Yeah.
Like that helps a lot. Social interaction, especially, like I said, with the withdrawal of recently, that helps a lot, especially for people who haven't, been able to work at their place of work. Unfortunately, I was able to work during the whole pandemic, so I never really not had a job. So I'm very, very, very lucky in that sense. Removal of toxic individuals and environments, going back to like family, toxic friends, stuff like that. Really, like, I know it sucks removing these people from your life, but you just sit down and if you write a pros and cons list, even like if you just know when someone is toxic, and if this person or these people constantly make you feel bad, don't make you feel good, or just make you feel bad in general, and still make you feel good sometimes. You either need to have a conversation with these people and just let them know how you're feeling. Like it's not ever a bad thing to tell people your feelings. Like, because how else are they gonna know?
They're not. So that one is so hard. Removal of toxic, especially people that who have been in your life for so long, or B, you feel obligated to because they might be family, or C, just it is so hard to be able to like cut those people off because you feel like you owe them something sometimes, or like you feel like you need to give them the benefit of the doubt and all that kind of stuff. But boy, like finally admitting to yourself that your mental health and like the way people make you feel is important.
And is the priority.
Yeah,
for sure.
It's so much easier, especially when you have other people in your life who are not toxic and who make you feel great, and who you love to be around. Yeah. And you can fall back on those people, and you always have those people, and you know who's going to be there for you. It makes it so much easier to cut people out of your life. But coming up on those like conversations and having to actually do that is really hard, and we know that. But it helps so much because people's energy is contagious. If you're already an anxious person and you're around someone who just makes you feel like crap, or feels like crap about the world,
things, like especially empathic people, and even if you're not an empath or whatever, like you absorb people's energy, and like it's just being around those people are affecting you. Not even if you realize it. If you don't even realize it, like just seeing these people, like they just immediately drain your energy. Those kind of people pull your energy out, and that is something that you should not. Like your energy, your positivity, your mindset, that's a priority. That should always be your priority. Managing yourself, your feelings, your emotions, your goals, everything. It's like a big interchanging web of lines and stuff. Everything that you get into or that means something to you in your life, everything in that sense, it's all combined.
Mm-hmm. It's all intertwined. That's a big component of manifestation. It's like everyone and everyone's energy is all interconnected. And I can go on, and we can go on and on. Let's not go on and on because we really could. These people, they just don't care right now. You might though. I don't know. Removal of toxic individuals. We can kind of blow through these last few. Yeah. But
true confidence is one. I mean, it's very hard to master true confidence. Obviously, you're never going to have confidence 100% of the time. But that helps a lot, to just love yourself, love what you're doing, and we can talk about that in another episode, confidence. But it has a lot to do with who you are and standing up for yourself.
And the way you feel about yourself,
Of course,
Then we have like expanding your brain. This is basically just a nerdy way of saying find something else you like to do. Learn about things.
Constantly learn and just always engage with things that you feel interested in.
Mm-hmm.
Like, don't ever just stop with, you know, your expanding your brain.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
just do it, okay?
Just
Enough
do
said.
it. Don't call me Nike or anything.
Not a plug. Not a plug.
not a plug at all. No, but meditation, new knowledge. You know, going to school. You don't even have to go to school to do these things. You can watch YouTube videos. You know, you can just get out there and try
Talk to
new
people,
things.
meet people,
Talk
learn
to
new
people.
things.
Yeah,
I don't know. That's a
It's-
big help. If nothing else, and I'm not saying a distraction is the answer, but if nothing else, if you're like in like a deep dark hole and you're just having a bad time, your
those things
anxiety
are
is really bad,
good
it's
to pull
just
you out.
yes, it's just finding those things that make you happy or finding something you might be interested in. Yeah, doing that is a big help. Distraction isn't the answer because that means you're not really addressing the issue, but it is a big help when it comes to, you know, pulling yourself out of those lows and moving forward.
For me, being kind is a really big way to manage. That may just be me, but like being kind never does anything wrong to yourself or anyone else. And you know that goes along with putting yourself in other people's shoes, and like the loss of hatred is a very big one. Like when you just learn to like forgive, you don't have to forget, but when you learn to forgive people, that's for you. You know, like the loss of hatred, just letting that go is like a big, like a sense of relief in a way.
Letting go of anything that, and this goes along with, you know, cutting off people if you need to, going to a different place, but just letting go of any kind of negativity that you have. And again, it's really difficult to do, especially if you just feel buried by it, which is like everyone's been there. But just letting it go, moving on.
Yeah.
Like especially this past month was awful. Like I had never been so anxious, never had like boom, 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 one thing after another. So many things happened to me. But like I'm on the other side of it, and now it's like boom. Like
And
finally,
looking back, it's like I'm glad that I went through that experience because I, you know, experiencing this so young, and you know, when we're like before our, you know, like too much far into our careers and stuff like that.
Yeah, like it was.
It's better to experience that stuff now and get through it. Like you're so young and you tackled that like
Yeah. If
like,
nothing
and
else,
everything
I
in
just
one-
live like
in a few days.
I feel very strong. I feel good.
You are strong.
Like it sucked at the time. I'd never been so anxious in my life. I just was like, what's next? Like it's just gonna keep getting worse. But on the other side of it, letting it go. It happened. It sucks. Now it's over. I'm on the other side. I'm working my way up, and it
And
feels
that kinda-
nice.
Sorry about that.
Okay.
And that kind of rolls into like acceptance is like a big thing. Accepting all these things in your life, accepting what you're going through as something that is going to happen either way, and accepting that bad things are going to continue to happen, but just know that good things are also going to happen, you know, before or after those things. I like to say a lot, and it's kind of cheesy, but life's like the stock market. Like it's going to go up, but it's also going to come down.
Yep.
And on the other sense of like, you know, cup half empty, half full. Like the stock market is going to go down, but it's also going to come back up. You can't have one without the other. If you don't experience these bad things, you'll never have the perspective of how good it could be. You know, like experiencing the better things because you experience bad things. It like makes it more meaningful. I feel like.
Well, motivational speaker award goes to Catherine. Killed it.
Hush.
No, to all those points. I mean, those quotes are cheesy, but are they wrong?
They're
No.
not. They're not. And they're, you know, a lot of people say these things, but listen, man. Like, listen to them. Sometimes you just, it's easier to listen than to talk, and I need to take a piece of that pie, but. But
You got
yeah.
good stuff to say sometimes, you know?
Sometimes, yeah, for sure. Sometimes I just love to hear myself talk. That's why we have a podcast.
Yeah, no. You know what I kind of want to close this episode with? I want to go
I love
through.
your ideas. Go for it.
I want to go through and like list things that we feel anxious about that are like so silly. Like how could that make anyone anxious? Because I know there are other people out there who will listen to it and be like, no freaking way.
Yeah, go for
Okay.
it.
Okay, well, my first one, and you know this one, a lot of people know this one, a lot of people have this kind of anxiety. I have just the biggest fear of speaking on the telephone. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh
for
God,
sure.
I freak out. And especially having to call like the hospital, insurance, like all this stuff this last month. I've had to have so many phone calls and it has been absolutely traumatizing. But that is one thing that makes me really anxious. Okay, you go.
That's hard. Anxiety could be, for me, like anything. Can you help me out here? I'm just kind of blank. I have a lot of anxiety, but I just can't really pinpoint.
Hey, that's valid. That's valid.
Okay, how about that? Anxiety about, like, talking about my feelings.
Mm-hmm.
Like, being able to get out those words. Like, I think this podcast is going to help me a lot.
Yeah.
There's a lot of times where I just talk and talk and talk, and I just kind of reiterate what I'm saying, like, in just different ways. And, like, for me, having anxiety about talking to people and being able to get out the thoughts that I have in my brain. I have lots of thoughts, and just being able to get it out, it's very hard. And it gives me a lot of anxiety.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's true. That comes about socially, but I would not say you have social anxiety.
No.
You don't. You're a social butterfly. But me, I have terrible social anxiety.
But you are really good with getting out your thoughts.
Yeah, but if I can't talk to anyone because I have crippling fear, like I'll be at Walmart and be like, okay, I'm 5'2", right? I'll be at Walmart trying to get some crackers off the top shelf, or like something I really need for a recipe, or like milk that's like shoved all the way to the back at the top rack, and I can't reach it, but I need it. I will straight up, in order to avoid asking someone for help or talking to a stranger, I will just change my entire meal plan for the week if I can't get that ingredient. God. Or like if I'm at a restaurant and they get my food absolutely wrong, I will starve.
You won't say anything.
I will starve rather than be like, hi.
No, I'm sorry.
Would you mind fixing
I'm
this?
definitely going to say something.
There you go.
I want to eat so bad. If I'm paying for that meal, I'm getting what I want.
Yeah,
for sure.
That's how it should be. Yeah, I'm just scared.
I know you are.
What else? This is a new one. I now have anxiety about driving in the rain.
Oh yeah, well that's traumatic though. Like that stems from things that have happened to you in your past or kind of recent.
Yeah. I have anxiety about things that I know will literally never happen. Like I will sit and like daydream. And I'll be like, oh my God, what if I have to have this conversation with this person?
Speaking of conversations, I think I have anxiety about like talking to my family. I think like talking to people in general, not really. Speaking in front of people, not really. Like, I mean, obviously there's a little bit of anxiety because not everyone is perfect at speaking in general, like in front of people or crowds or anything. But for me, like talking to my family and getting out my emotions and feelings to my family is very hard. Specifically, I rather like talk in front of a crowd than talk about.
And that's another weird thing.
Stuff with my family, which is weird because I should be like your safe place.
I'm the opposite. Like I can't talk to any individual stranger person, but I could get up at a podium in front of a crowd of 1 million people and give a speech, and that.
You know what?
I'd be a little nervous, but that wouldn't really bother me.
That's why we're great partners. We can just like get off each other. Yeah, for sure.
Wow, would you look at that?
You got another one?
Do I have another one?
Yeah.
Boy, do I have a list, but we don't need to keep going on and on. Like, what's another one? I remember this in high school, and I kind of referenced it earlier, but I remember, when you're in high school and you get your lunch, you got to dump your tray at the trash can. Me and, like, my friend group, we would not dump our trays, but I could not get up and dump my tray by myself. I was like, oh my God, what if I get up and I'm walking to the trash can and I fall and everyone sees me? What if I get up and I drop my tray everywhere?
That has a lot to do with like movies in America. You know how many like high school movies that happens?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, absolute fear.
Like, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot of people. A lot of people have that same anxiety.
And that's still a fear. Like if I were
or not even just that, but like going to the bathroom by yourself.
Yep.
Or stuff like
which I've got better. And also another weird thing about my anxiety is that if there's something I have to do that makes me incredibly anxious normally, But in a certain situation, if I'm doing it for someone else, it doesn't bother me.
Yeah,
Like, if I need to make a phone
away.
call, like, if I need to make a phone call for a friend, I will do that in a heartbeat and I have no anxiety. Or if my friend needs help with something, like, she or he needs to ask someone for help, I will go up to that person and ask for help for my friend. Like, it doesn't bother me in that case, but
I get that completely.
it's like when it's an act for someone else, I'll do anything. But, like, for me, I'll be like, nah, I don't need the milk. It's too high. I'm short. It's my fault.
I definitely had one and I just lost it.
Oh.
I do that a lot though.
Yeah, it'll come back to you. You can put it in the description. Refer to this.
Yeah, but if you guys want to email us about some, things you have, we can probably.
Let us know if you can relate.
We would love to share you guys' emails on our Mental Health Monday, because we plan on doing the Mental Health Monday series we got going on here. I think it's a really good thought and plan we have.
Oh, I'm excited.
I'm really excited.
Mental health issues, endless. So many.
Yeah, I think that's a big thing, especially for our generation. I think we've come a long way with, making recognizing those things and kind of making them more normal than they have been in the past.
Yeah.
So.
But send us your stories, send us your experiences, or at least send us hey bro, same. Let us know. Let us know I'm not crazy. Y'all scared of asking for help reaching things in the store? I would love to know. Love to know if it's just me. But
raising your hand in class.
Ooh. That teacher, you better not call on me. When you had to read.
Or raising your hand and them not calling on you.
Yes. Or when you had to popcorn reading class, or you had to read in class, but it would go on a line, so you counted ahead to see which paragraph you would have, so you could rehearse it.
Practice.
Yes. Man.
All right, guys. Well, I'm glad you tuned in and listened to us, and we look forward to giving you guys more content.
Yeah. Just another set of not really disclosures, but we're still new at podcasting, so the audio, we're working on it. We're gonna be able to get into a space where we can make the audio sound better. We know there's a lot of room noise. I try to fix it in post as much as I can, but bear with us.
And also, if you guys have any tips, feel free to hit us up. We don't mind at all.
And we also know that we go on and on sometimes. We're gonna try to maybe get better at being more succinct, but also I kind of like talking.
Yeah,
so,
Even if we don't
this is our therapy. So sometimes we just have to go on our tangents and work through it. And so hopefully you can bear with us for that.
Hell yeah!
All right. Well, we will see you guys next time, or you will hear us next time. But yeah, we'll see you soon. Thanks for tuning in.
Peace.
Bye. Just a reminder, you can follow us or DM us on Instagram at Podcast Views.
Or you can drop us an email at ourviewspodcast@gmail.com. That's OurViewspodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah.